Hi guys, so welcome back to my channel. This is Dima Tutorials. Dima Tutorials is an educational channel here on YouTube, and what I do is to help students who are preparing for the exams on the use of English and on literature. Today I want to talk to you guys about adverb clauses. Adverb clauses. And what's an adverb clause? An adverb clause is a group of related words that has a finite verb and a subject. An adverb clause is a group of related words that has a subject, a verb that describes a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. So an adverb clause is first a clause because it has a subject and a verb. It must have a subject and a verb. So you don't confuse it with an adverb phrase. So I have a group of underlined words that has a subject, a verb, and tells you more about a verb or describes a verb, then you know it's an adverb clause. It's an adverb clause. Adverb clause also describes an adjective and another adverb. Okay, adverb clauses describe adjectives and other adverbs, but the primary function of an adverb clause is to describe a verb. Adverb, additional information on a verb. Okay, that's a tip that will help you remember the function of an adverb. So the primary function of an adverb is to tell you more about a verb, to describe a verb. Okay, so in WASC, NECO, GCE, and other senior secondary exams, questions are usually asked on adverb clauses that describe verbs. There are 5 ways an adverb clause can describe a verb. It can describe a verb by answering the question how, why, when, to what extent, under what condition. So these are the 5 ways an adverb clause can describe a verb. Now, when an adverb clause answers the question why, you say there is an adverb clause of reason. Okay, if it tells why something will happen or why something happened, then you say that is an adverb clause of reason. Now, an adverb clause of reason usually begins with words like because, so that, in order to, words that show reason, words that answer the question why. For example, because the zoo attendant disappeared, the lions starved to death. Now, if I underline the words because the zoo attendant disappeared, because the zoo attendant disappeared, if I underline those words, is an adverb clause. The underlined words have the subject. The subject is the zoo attendant, okay? And it also contains a finite verb. The finite verb is disappeared. That's the verb in the clause, disappeared. So first is a clause. Now, does it tell us more about any verb? Does it describe any verb? Yes, it describes a verb. The verb it describes is in the independent clause, which is starved. Okay, starved. Why did they starve? Because the zoo attendant disappeared. So this is an adverb clause of reason. Okay, and it starts with the word because. It's an adverb clause of reason qualifying the verb starved. Okay, starved in the independent clause. Another example: the party could not hold due to the fact that it rained. The party could not hold due to the fact that it rained. Now, if I underline due to the fact that it rained, first of all, is it a clause? Yes, it's a clause, okay? Because it contains a subject, the fact, and also contains a verb, when. So first, we've established that it's a clause, okay? Now, what is it doing in the sentence? Is it telling us more about a verb? Yes, it talks more about a verb. It tells us the reason why the party could not hold. So it qualifies the verb hold, okay? It tells us more about the verb hold. So it's an adverb clause of reason qualifying the verb hold. Now, adverb clause also answers the question when. So when it answers the question when, it's an adverb clause of time. Let's say, for example, whenever he's here, he quarrels with everyone. Whenever he's here, he quarrels with everyone. Okay? Now, if I underline whenever he's here, first of all, is it a clause? Yes, it's a clause. It contains a pronoun he. He, which serves as the subject of the sentence. It contains a pronoun he, and it also contains a verb is. Okay, so is a clause. Now, what kind of clause is it? It's an adverb clause because it answers the question when it tells us more about the verb quarrel that is in the independent clause. Okay, when does it quarrel? Whenever he is here. Okay, so this is an adverb clause of time. Adverb clause of time begins with words like whenever, until, since, as soon as, etc. Words that tell us time, words that tell us when. Okay, so that is adverb clause of time. It answers the question when. At the end of the lesson, we are going to answer questions from the past questions. Okay, now when an adverb clause answers the question where, it says an adverb clause of place. When an adverb clause answers the question where, it says an adverb clause of place. Okay, for example, this is the place where it all happened. Now, if I underline the words where it all happened, where it all happened, first, is it a clause? Yes, it's a clause. It has a pronoun it and also has a verb happened. Okay, so it's a clause. Now, what kind of clause is it? It's an adverb clause because it tells us more about the verb that is an independent clause. The verb is, that is an independent clause. Okay, now another thing that adverb clause does is to tell us under what condition, that something will happen. And when an adverb clause answers the question under what condition, it says an adverb clause of condition. Adverb clause of condition here begins with words like unless, if, supposing, whether. Okay, words that show condition, words that show condition for something to happen. So adverb clause of condition answers the question under what condition. For example, if I'm invited, I shall be there. If I'm invited, I shall be there. Now, if I underline the words if I'm invited, it shows condition. It shows what needs to happen for me to be there. So the condition for me to be there is if I am invited. Okay, that's the condition for me to be there. Now, if I'm invited, is it a clause? Yes, a clause. It contains the pronoun I and also contains a finite verb invited. Okay, so is a clause. It contains a pronoun which serves as the subject of the sentence and also a finite verb. Now, what kind of a clause is it? What kind of a clause is it? It's an adverb clause because it tells us more about the verb be. It describes the verb be. It's an adverb clause of condition. It states the condition that needs to be met for me to be there. It tells us what shall happen for me to be there. Okay, so it's an adverb clause of condition qualifying the verb be. Another example, unless you hurry up, you shall be late. Unless you hurry up, you shall be late. Now, if I underline unless you hurry up, first of all, is it a clause? Yes, it's a clause. It contains the pronoun you and also contains a verb hurry. So it's a clause. Now, what kind of a clause is it? It's an adverb clause. An adverb clause of condition. It tells us the condition that needs to be met for you not to be late. Okay, so it's an adverb clause of condition. Now, lastly, an adverb clause also tells us to what extent. It also answers the question to what extent. Okay, when it answers the question to what extent, it says an adverb clause of degree or an adverb clause of comparison. Adverb clause of degree or adverb clause of comparison. For example, the lady is as beautiful as she is smart. The lady is as beautiful as she is smart. If I underline as beautiful as she is smart, as beautiful as she is smart is an adverb clause of degree. An adverb clause of degree tells us to what extent she is beautiful. Okay, the extent of her beauty. It measures the extent of her beauty. So it's an adverb clause of degree. It qualifies the verb in the independent clause is. Okay, so it's an adverb clause of degree qualifying the verb is. Now let's answer some questions from the past questions. We're going to answer some questions from WAEC past questions. I hope you're ready. Now let's answer this question from the past questions. Now let's answer this question from 2017 past questions. We have in section B, and in the comprehension passage, we have as he dragged it to the surface, We screamed in sudden terror. Okay. Now the underlined words are as it dragged it to the surface. As it dragged it to the surface are the underlined words. Now, as it dragged it to the surface, what does it tell us? First, is it a clause? Does it contain a noun or a pronoun? Yes, it contains a pronoun, he. Okay. Does it contain a verb? Yes, it contains a verb, dragged. Action, dragged. Okay. Now, what kind of clause is it? What does it tell us? What question does it answer? Okay, it answers the question when. When did we scream? As it dragged it to the surface. As it dragged it to the surface. So this is an adverb clause of time qualifying the verb screamed. It qualifies the verb screamed. Okay, so it's an adverb clause of time qualifying the verb screamed. Listen another one from the past questions. We have in 2014. Then a few months ago, 30 years after I last saw him in the primary school, while I was watching a 9 o'clock television network program, I saw David being interviewed by a team of reporters. Okay, now the underlined words are while I was watching a 9 o'clock television network program. Those are the underlined words. First, is it a clause? Yes, it's a clause because it contains a pronoun which serves as a subject. So it's a clause. It has I and also has a verb, watching. Okay, so it's a clause. Now, what kind of a clause is it? What does it tell us? It tells us when. When did I see him? I saw him while watching a 9 o'clock television program. So it's an adverb clause of time qualifying the verb saw. An adverb clause of time qualifying the verb saw. So that is it about adverb clause. I hope you understood the lesson. Please, if you understood the lesson, make sure you give it a like. Please give it a like. Subscribe to the channel if you've not subscribed already. And please share it. Share the video, okay? You can share it on Facebook, you can share it on WhatsApp, you can share it on any social network where you can actually share a YouTube video, okay? Please share it to your friends. Thank you very much for watching and see you in my next video. Please like the video. Thank you and bye.